Hi, everyone. Welcome to this very interesting debate that our cybersecurity students at Melsoft are going to be having today. I'm just waiting for all of them to join the stream. And as we are waiting, I am just going to go through what this debate will be all about. First of all, my name is Benis Mulenda. I am a mentor here at Melsoft Academy. And yeah, so today we're going to showcase to you what basically a snippet of what we do here at Melsoft Academy in terms of cybersecurity, the conversations that we have and the discussions that we have. So today's topic is the future private, right? In an era of pervasive data breaches, government surveillance programs, and emerging quantum threats, the question of privacy survival has never been more urgent. This debate challenges us to examine whether technological innovation and policy frameworks can preserve our rights to privacy or whether systematic forces have already rendered it obsolete. Right? So I'm just trying to see if everyone has joined yet. There's still a few students that are yet to join the stream. So I'll give them a bit more time. All right. All right. Looks like we have more people joining. Fantastic. Cool. So moving on. All right. So the debate will basically be about a 60-minute debate. It could be more or less 60 minutes. And we're going to have two teams. We have the affirmative team, which believes that the future is private through technological innovation, robust encryption, privacy preserving computation, and progressive policy frameworks. We can maintain and enhance privacy rights. Then we have the team that is on the negative side, which basically says the future cannot be private. Surveillance is capitalism. State security demands is a state security demand, and also technological complexities and economic incentives make meaningful privacy impossible, right? Um, so we're almost there. Just keeping track of all the people that have joined. We're almost there. We're getting there. I'm waiting for the negative team to fully join, and then we will begin our debate. All right. Cool. So we have quite a number of topics that we're going to try to discuss in this debate. First of all is the digital identity and the end of anonymity, right? This centers around the idea of identity system involution, decentralized alternatives, and anonymity trade-offs, all right? And some of the critical questions that we're going to try to answer is, can your digital ID, can the digital ID system coexist with genuine privacy, or are they inherently surveillance tools? And then the second question is, who should control identity data? All right. Should the government be ensuring security, corporations driving innovation, or individuals exercising autonomy? Autonomy. All right. Let's see how far we are. All right. Still a few people that we're waiting for. I'm still waiting for just the team captain of the negative team to join, and then we will proceed. All right. Then the next topic that we're going to cover is encryption, wars, and surveillance tensions. So this is basically the cryptographic battle. End-to-end encryption protects billions of communication daily, making messages readable only to intended recipients. Yet governments worldwide demand exceptional access, backdoors for law enforcement, and a technical impossibility, which basically is a technical impossibility without compromising security for everyone. Right? Our topic is obviously quantum computing. This is quite interesting because many in the tech space believe that this is the way of the future. So how can we not discuss quantum computing as well and how it's going to shape cryptography as we go? So one of the questions that we're going to try to answer is quantum computing, is it salvation or is it a threat? And then we have, last but not least, the data economy and AI surveillance. All right. We have Tamela joining, and we have Kekalitsu in. Okay, fantastic. So we are a full house. All right. I'm going to add everyone to the stream. All right. Go to Mello. Please just mute yourself. All right. Let's just do this. So you've all been added to the stream. And yeah, looks good. I think the only person we need to add now is Tumelo. All right. Cool then. So that means that is everyone. So I will quickly just go through how this debate is going to work out. See Johanna wants to join. I'm going to add her to the stream. And yeah, that's about everyone in. Okay, perfect. All right, so just to break down how we're going to, the structure of this debate. Number one, we're going to have opening statements from each team. Each team is going to have about 10 minutes. All right. It's actually supposed to be 5 per team, but we're going to leave it. I'm not going to be too strict on the time because I do want you to express your arguments the way you want to, right? So each team is going to get their opening statements. Then after that opening statements, we're going to have your first arguments. All right. So we're going to start with obviously the affirmative team, the team that believes that the future is private. And then we're going, after that, we're going to have obviously the negative team that believes that the future is not private. Then after we have the opening statements, we are going to have our arguments. Then we're going to have our rebuttals. All right. Cool. So let me see if that is everyone. Cool. That is everyone inside the stream. So the floor is yours. I'm going to stop sharing. And I am going to give the floor to you, Nella. Petronella is the captain of the affirmative team, and I'll just give the floor to her to introduce her team and then present their opening statements. Nella, can you hear me? Nella, are you there? All right, so I see Nella is typing. I think she has an issue. All right, we'll just give her a moment as she lets us know what's the issue. Okay, so she's still trying to fix the mic, so we're going to give her a moment to work on that whilst we're waiting for her to fix her mic. I'm just going to touch on why we found this to be something necessary. All right, in the cybersecurity space, it's not just being current is very important. Right, by being current, I mean we need to be aware of what's happening, of the changing landscape of the cybersecurity world. As you know, the digital world is constantly changing, and what was a threat yesterday is not necessarily, it's still a threat today, but not in the same format it was in previous years. Right. So it is important for us to think about the present, think about the past, and project into the future and how that future will look like. All right, cool. Yes, okay, she's going to try to log in again, and then we'll see how that works out. All right, cool. So as I was saying, as we wait for Nella to come back, we need to be able to predict what will happen in the future and prepare ourselves for the future that is to come. And I think, okay, Tamela has joined the stream. Let me just add him in. And we're just going to wait for Nella one more time, and then we should begin. All right. If it's still an issue, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask someone else from the affirmative team to do the opening statements, just to accommodate, um, just basically to so that we can proceed with our debate. Right. Cool. Whilst we wait, as I was saying, it's important for us to think about how our decisions today is going to shape the future tomorrow, right? And there's always talks about new technologies and that, but however, let me see, is there anyone joining in? Not yet. However, what does that actually mean for the average user? All right. With the advent of AI, obviously that's opened a whole new rabbit hole when it comes to security concerns and so on and so forth. So we need to think about that today so that we can make more informed decisions for tomorrow. All right. Okay. Since now it's taking a bit more time, can we have either Timothy or Timothy, I think you're the only one, or Temba, to tell us, right, to do your opening statements. Temba, are you there? Timothy, are you there? It's interesting that technical issues are always a thing, regardless of how well versed we are in the tech world. Okay. Right, Nella?
Um,
Yay.
Hello guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So I'm gonna try and add a slide. Hopefully it did get downloaded. So that we can go on. Perfect. So there it is. Just a second.
All right.
Let's see what we have. It's processing just a second, guys.
All right.
There you go. Present. Can you guys see? Hello?
No, I don't know about everybody else, but I cannot see anything.
Okay, again. Thank you so much. Can you guys see? Let me try and fix it. Please bear with me. I'm not familiar with this.
All right, can you hear me now? Yes, Nella?
Nah, yes,
All
lecturer,
right.
I can hear you. Can you now see my presentation? Keke cannot.
All right, I'm trying to add it in, but I'm not. Okay, let's do this. Try to stop presenting and try to present again. Then I'll share it to the screen.
I should just continue presenting.
No, no, stop. Like stop the presentation and then start it again because I don't seem to be able to add it in.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
let me
yeah.
try it again.
Okay, share it again. All right, cool.
And are you seeing something?
All right, it's being added now. Cool. There we go. We can see it now.
Right. So I don't know because it's not a video. I think one of my team members will need to help me with the movement of the slides.
All right.
All right. I just hope they can hear me. Can I now
Yep.
begin?
Yes, you can begin.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Today, my team and I will be talking about the future is private. As we talk about the future is privacy, I want to make one thing clear. Privacy is not dying, but it's evolving. The same technology that threatens it is also shaping new ways to protect it. Let's start with digital identity. Many believes that the end of secrecy means the end of privacy, but that's not true. We are entering a time where we control our information. Privacy isn't disappearing, it's being redesigned around consent and control. As digital information accelerates, privacy remains one of the most critical and contested issues of our time. Despite the rise of data analytics, surveillance, and emerging technologies, privacy is not outdated, it's evolving. It's a fundamental human right protected by international laws and it's essential to personal freedom and democracy.
Nana,
What lecturer?
are you changing slides? Because it's still on the first slide.
Is it? So my
Yes.
team members are not participating. They should be helping me.
All right. I'll just change the slide. Let me know which slide are you on.
Okay. Privacy and fundamentals. Let's see.
Okay.
So I'm on fundamental human rights. Yes. Lecturer, is it possible to find out if my members can hear or what's happening?
They are part of the stream. So,
Okay.
Timothy, can you say something?
Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
All right. Cool. We can hear you.
yes, I'm also here,
Perfect.
guys.
All right. Fantastic.
Perfect. As I continue, it is a fundamental human right protected by international laws and is essential to personal freedom and democracy. Modern innovations can, in fact, strengthen privacy through technologies like encryption, decentralized identity systems, and privacy enhancing tools. Importantly, surveillance is not unavoidable, it's a choice. Ethical design, accountability, and democratic oversight can ensure that technology empowers people rather than controls them. Finally, privacy and transparency can coexist. True privacy isn't about secrecy, it's about control, the ability to decide what to share, when, and with whom. In short, the digital future does not eliminate privacy, it challenges us to defend and refine it. Therefore, encryption remains the foundation of privacy. End-to-end encryption is now a global standard, protecting everything from our messages to our banking information. And with the innovation like advanced encryption, data can even be analyzed without being decrypted. That's a huge dip. Okay, sharp. That's a huge leap forward for both privacy and security. Now, what about quantum computing? Some worry it could break encryption, but the cybersecurity community is already preparing. Though through post-quantum cryptography, cryptography, we are ensuring our system remains secure even in quantum world. The future isn't waiting to protect privacy, but it's preparing for it. AI can both collect and protect data using distributed learning and different privacy. AI learns from data without accessing personal details, but balancing innovation with privacy. Here's a strong point. Privacy is now a competitive advantage. Companies that protect it, like Apple and Signal, and trust and succeed, providing it's both ethical and profitable. Finally, ethics and human rights are leading the way. Regulations like South Africa Poppy and the EU's GDPR now hold organizations. Especially young people are more aware of their digital rights than ever. Privacy is no longer optional, it's a fundamental right. So, in conclusion, the question isn't whether the privacy exists in the future, is how much stronger it will become. And we build system that puts people first. The future is private, not by accident, but by design. Thank you.
All right, all right. Thank you. Ella, can we have the captain of the negative team present their opening statements? Okay, let's
Good evening.
Good morning.
Hello.
So my team is going to work just briefly. I will be introducing my team, and someone will take over the opening statements from there.
All right.
Yes, collaboration and finding ways to allow each other to work together. So, without further ado, good morning, ladies, gentlemen, fellow adjudicators, participants, my teammates, and those opposing me. Today, we will be debating on the topic of the future is private. And my team will be arguing on the negative side, being that we do not believe that the future is private. You will hear our opening statements from Josi, who will do a fantastic job of making the point of why we believe the future is not private, and then followed by me discussing the issue of digital IDs, followed by Joanna discussing the issue of
encryption.
can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I got lost for a moment. And then we'll be followed by Joanna discussing the issue of encryption in an era of state surveillance. Then Dumelo discussing quantum computing and the future of cryptography, followed by data, AI, and behavioral surveillance. And in closing with the fifth topic, ethics and philosophy, I will be taking over that, and our closing statements will once again be carried by Josi. So sit back and enjoy.
All right.
Josi, you may proceed.
can hear you.
You can hear me. All right.
We can hear you.
So I want to start off by saying good day to everyone, opposing team. Good day to you, Mr. Day also. Teammates, I saw you earlier today. No, my name is Jose Lobak. I'm part of the motion of is I'm saying no. I'd like to start off my opening and that truth being that the future and will not be private. So as we already know, where data has become not only convenient but become a new norm in our daily lives. Every click, every like, every financial transaction, and every GPS ping, our movement, our movements have always been and always will be monitored and logged, often without much or consent. Despite encryptions, laws, and regulations which also points our opponents might raise. Honestly, those are just temporary solutions in digital design to harvest them. Privacy is something we no longer get the luxury of having. Encryption, our strongest defense, failing and facing quantum computing, constant surveillance by government in the name of public safety, digital entities centralize our data, AI and the data economy making private obsolete, and the realities we live with that follows our every move. Social media and exploit our personal information and settings that offer the illusion of control while it continues to flow freely behind the scenes. These all make gateways for not only infringements but crimes, cyberstalking, doxing, and identity theft. And we look ahead to an exciting future filled with technological advance and an uprise in the world we see today. The question still remains: how long will we keep our privacy, and also how will we as a society adapt once it's gone? Yeah, tell me.
Thank you very much, Jose, Mr. Benis. That is our opening statement.
All right. Thank you very much. So moving on, we are going to have the first facts from the affirmative team. So Nella, can you take over, or whoever is supposed to go next from your team? So your first argument. Nella, are you there? Timothy, I see your mic is open.
Yeah. My first argument is that privacy is a fundamental of human right, meaning it brings order. And number two is that technology can be designed to protect privacy. Since we get many ways of like protecting privacy, like end-to-end encryptions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and decentralized identities. You know, point is that public awareness. People are aware. Uh, you know, yeah, and like the civilians is it's a choice.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
can I interrupt quickly?
Yes.
My connection was lost, so I'm not sure if my captain had finished her point already. And
She
if
did finish. Yeah, so you can continue, Johanna. Johanna, you were making a point. All right, actually, you got disconnected. All right. Uh,
And
yeah, Tim,
morning,
did you?
everybody. So just to add on what my team member is saying,
Right.
yes, quantum computing could break today encryption, but the researchers are already ahead. So the post quantum computing cryptography algorithm is being standardized by the National Institution of Standards. That's number one. So these new algorithms are designed to resist uh, to, to to resist attacks from quantum computers, basically. So the technology community is already adapting to that. So the transition has begun, according to us.
All right. Okay. So, all right. Cool then. Then can we have statements from the negative?
All right. So we humbly, heavily disagree. And I will start that by addressing the issue of digital identity and the end of anonymity. So, digital identity, when we look at that, we're looking at the idea of digital IDs, where their purpose is to replace physical documents. We're talking driver's licenses, passports, or social security cards with a verifiable digital credential, often stored on your smartphone that you don't know how to properly encrypt, that you use the same password and PIN for, or a central government database. While the idea of digital IDs is to bring more convenience in a world where there's already a lot of convenience, the the architecture of digital IDs is in direct opposition to a meaningful privacy, and it creates the perfect target for cyber attacks. Fundamentally, the biggest issue with digital ID systems is that they're not anonymous. Let's make that very, very clear. Digital systems are not anonymous. They're in fact the ultimate tool for authentication and tracking. And this creates several inherent conflicts. One, the end of pseudonymity. And in the physical world, you can often conduct transactions with cash or without ever having to fully reveal your identity. These are issues that, in a robust digital system, especially if mandated to access both online and offline services, the ability to have anonymity when transacting, sorry, will absolutely be taken away. You cannot transact in a world where we are fully living on digital systems like that anonymously. Every interaction, from logging into social media to entering a public building to make a purchase, is an identified act. It becomes information mined to understand and map your behaviors and your patterns. Every use of that digital ID can be logged to creating a permanent timestamp record of your activities. And this is the ultimate dream of surveillance states and an absolute nightmare for privacy advocates. Continuing on that point of digital IDs, the history of government and corporate security provides a very grim preview of the consequences related to going down this path. The existing government data breaches that have happened in the US alone should be enough for us to understand that the idea of a digital ID system is not a good idea. The US Office of Personnel Management was breached in 2015, allegedly by China. And they were able to get about 21 million people's personal data. This breach included not just social security numbers, and I would like to think that everyone in this live chat knows what a social security number is, even though they're not a thing in South Africa.
Just briefly.
So ideally, social security numbers are what in South Africa would be your ID number for transacting for a lot of things, being able to get government funding, or your what would be in your license. In America, what is on your license or ID is different from the numbers that you're given, the social security number that the government is able to give you benefits for, that you are able to pay your taxes with. That is what a social security number basically is. So, that being said, the US Office of Personnel Management had this breach in 2015 where 21 million people's data was breached. This breach included not just social security numbers, but background investigation files containing deeply personal information about friends, family, financial history, mental health status for security clearance holders. And if, once again, no one understands how big of a deal having a security clearance in the US is, it is ultimately insanely important. They don't just give those out, they give them to their most vetted of vetted, because these are people who are holding state secrets. If the US government cannot protect the data of its most vetted employees, what confidence can we truly have in them being able to protect a universal digital database containing the entire population's information? When we integrate to digital IDs, the argument is very, very overwhelming, because we are actively constructing a world where, one, surveillance capitalism is a norm. Data is being collected to understand your behavior. The Internet of Things monitors your movements and your actions. A digital ID will absolutely act as a universal link. It will be the primary key that can connect your health records, your financial transactions, your travel movements, your online speech, your social associations into a single searchable profile. And the breach of that system would be catastrophic. This would lead to the theft of your entire legal and social identity. And that is not as easy as calling your credit card company and reporting fraud. Thank you.
Wow. Affirmative, you have a lot to answer for. All right. Back to you, Affirmative. Nella, you're muted if you're trying to say something. Okay, there we go.
Oh yes, I am trying to say something. So Gege, well said actually. So I get everything that you have mentioned, in terms of invading privacy, but do consider that everything that's done is to protect you. And if you look at on slide 4, it does state that we've got section 23, 24, and 11 that clearly proves that any data that needs to be used will be asked for permission. And that will be it. I don't know. I'll just give it to my other members to add on.
Okay, so I will rebut that, because in my humble opinion, that is absolutely not true. Um, the state can find ways around the law to surveil and collect data, and one of the things that they do is data brokers. These are your Facebooks, your private companies who are collecting information on you, who are collecting locations with literally every app you use, your period app tracker, your what other apps, your Bible app. Okay, your Bible app should not have your location, but they do. And they get all this information, they mine it, and they can sell it. By the way, it's legal for them to be able to sell all this information, and the government can legally buy that information, and they can do whatever they want with it. So, my point again, legality is not an issue. Legality, there's always loopholes to legalities. The Trump administration is the proof to loopholes to legalities. There will always be a way to mandate the law to make it work for a state that is willing to control its people using their data. Thank you.
Okay.
The same
Timothy.
way, the same way she was saying that there's social media and technologies uh, that I don't know how to put it to that takes out our data or like exposes our data. There's also technologies that protect our data, as well as there's also legal protections like the Act and GDPR, which limits surveillance, and yeah, and you also get like your end-to-end encryptions, which also tries to protect your data and your VPNs and your privacy browsers, which help you to also protect your data. Uh, oh, yeah, I don't have anything
Good
else to
morning.
say.
Good morning.
That's it.
Can you hear me?
Can hear
Yeah,
you.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the encryption part because my network was lost. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay, so I stand with the position that the future cannot remain fully private. And I want to be clear that we're not saying that privacy is unimportant. Privacy does matter. It protects your dignity, identity, and individuality. But privacy cannot be completely absolute. When privacy becomes absolute, it becomes a shield for crime, harm, and danger. So, my first point would be on criminals exploiting unbreakable privacy. So, the same encryption tools that protect ordinary people are also used by human trafficking networks, cyber criminals, financial fraud groups, and terrorists. So, these groups hide purposely behind end to end encrypted messages, knowing law enforcement cannot see, trace, or encryption remains. We have to ask, how does society protect itself from harm we can no longer see? Because
Brandy, do you think you there? Oh,
I
we
think
lost her.
we have lost Joanna.
Yeah, we lost her to privacy.
We did indeed.
All
But
right, are you going to carry on?
um absolutely.
All right.
Um
sorry,
so oh, Joanna's back.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry, my network is a bit shaky. So as I was saying, a lot of abuse, but we are proposing. Sorry, what?
So this is why we need better network solutions. Cybersecurity students, can you please propose to us how to get better networks?
We are still trying to survive AI, please.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. I guess then, Kika, I think you might as well carry over her points, and then when she comes back, we'll give her the space
Okay.
to.
So ideally, the point is with everything that Joanna has emphasized on, we are not proposing that the future does not need to not be private. What we are saying is there is a lot of nuance to this topic. And in that nuance exists good and bad. And they should be heavily weighed to be able to understand where we are capable of standing. Ow, ow. Excuse me. Sorry, I needed a moment there. Um, there is a lot of nuance that comes with the privacy of our entire community. And with it comes the responsibility of our government to find that line and not skip it. And as we have emphasized to this current point, we are not in that time right now. We are in a time where our governments are surveilling us. We're in a time where our governments are buying data from private companies. We are in a time where our governments are trying to push for more surveillance and less privacy so that they are able to understand their consumers, I would say, better, because this is what that is. We are living in a world where our governments are being ran as companies. And for a company to be able to sell you the right product, they need to study your behavior. They need to know what you like and don't like. And they need to know what kind of propaganda to feed you. And that cannot be done with absolute privacy.
Mm, mm. And then affirmative. Timba, you have a point to add?
Yes, I have a point, especially on the digital identity. So the rise of digital identity system doesn't mean the privacy is over. It actually allows individuals to have more control over their privacy or their data. So with decentralized identity, uh, users can prove who they actually are without sharing their information, their personal information. So digital identity doesn't strengthen. It can strengthen privacy through transparency and consent.
Mm, mm, mm. Right. So I just want to ask a quick question. I noticed that we haven't touched. You touched on encryption. Everybody touched on encryption and touched on digital identity. Um, what are, in terms of your arguments, right, and the future of encryption, right? I noticed that KK, you made a point, or the negative team made a point about how encryption is not encryption, rather, but in order, Angel made the point about in order for, surveillance, not even surveillance, but for us to be safer to a degree, we have to be willing to give up our privacy. It's not to say that privacy is not important, but we have to be willing to give that up, right? And then the affirmative team, I'm basically asking, to what capacity do we give it up?
I need Timber to mute his mic. There's a lot of background noise.
All
Oh,
right, I
sorry,
got
sorry, sorry.
you.
Thank you. Please come again, Bernie.
So my question is, it's directed to the affirmative team. Because the negative team mentioned that for safety, to a degree, we have to be willing to give up our privacy, right? Angel mentioned the point about for criminals, for instance, if the future is private, then criminals have they can basically stay in the shadows, right? So for the affirmative team that believes the future is private, to what capacity is it private? If the question makes sense. Anyone that's going to
Timothy,
take
are
that
you
question?
gonna go for it?
Can you please repeat the question?
The question is, to what capacity is the future private? If to protect ourselves to some degree, we need to be willing to give up our privacy. Angel mentioned that, for instance, criminal if the future is private, then criminals can basically hide in the shadows and make basically benefit from that privacy. So my question is, to what capacity is the future private? What do we have to give up for safety to a degree? And what privacy do we retain?
Can I answer that?
No, you're not on their team.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah.
Don't give them the hints.
To what capacity is the future privacy? To what capacity? The future is legally built around privacy.
Okay, then whilst you're trying to figure that out, then I'll give us the negative a question. All right. Um,
Okay.
it's basically similar to the question that the affirmative have, which is you believe that the future is not private, but they can argue that there are certain things that are simply inherently private that will always be somewhat private, right? So when you say the future is not private, again, to what capacity is it not private?
So, first things first, we have entered the world of ethics and philosophy, and I do not appreciate the fact that, Mr. Bidi, we are not there yet.
Hmm.
And your question is pushing us there.
I mean, Angels started raising the point. I don't know if she's able to continue it before the affirmative answer.
Angel, are you still there? No,
Nope.
she's not.
Kosi, we haven't heard you since the opening statement.
So, student,
Yeah. All right, Kosi, how are you?
can you
No, my question was, to what capacity is the future? Uh, sorry, I'm saying the wrong thing. To what capacity is the future not private, right? Because there's certain things that are inherently private. Like for instance, I can put up curtains in my house, and to some degree, that gives me a level of privacy, all right? But when you say the future is not private, is it only extended to the digital world, or or what are you saying? What are you trying to say, that the lifestyle that we are living is going to lead us towards a place where there's absolutely nothing private? Because, for instance, your house, we know where you live. Even if you put on curtains, there are devices inside your house that can still tell us what's happening, and so on and so forth. So that's my question. To what capacity do you say the future is not private?
like so when I say the future is not private, I'm so I opposing see the few points that social media uh, they do offer thing everything. So you get to choose exactly who do you want, what can they see. But in order for you to also, that's basically an illusion that companies give you, that you get to end of things, the illusion that you give it, such as your birthday when setting up an account, your first name and your last name, password also. that's information they've already kept,
Right.
and with that inside things, AI algorithms, that algorithm preference of in your daily life. They ask you certain questions or type of accounts that might pique your interest.
Mm.
They also look at your search history that you like also. So that's all part of the algorithm. Privacy. In order to get something, you have to give something. That's a very famous saying.
Mm. Okay.
So yeah, that
Right.
that is my point. You get a lot of information.
So, adding on to what Josi just said, and to especially emphasizing on the issue of privacy in your home. I believe, not I believe, we are in fact moving towards a time in our future where even in our own homes, the idea of privacy is absolutely going to change. And this is why I say your question pushes us to kind of the last issue of the ethics and philosophy of this whole issue, where we have ring doorbells now. We have passwords for our houses. My lights work with my phone. My TV works with my phone. My dishwasher works with my phone. My fridge works with my phone. My washing machine works with my phone. And at the basic level, all of that is what convenience. That is the whole idea of technology. Technology is there to give us this convenience for us to be able to live our lives easier and do with our time what we want instead of what we need to.
Mm.
And with that convenience comes the issue of simply just opening yourself up to less and less privacy. This app knows when I'm at home based off of what time my lights come on. This app knows when I wash my laundry and what week I'm probably not going to have clean clothes. These apps know how hot the dishes of my dishwasher are, and your entire life, to an extent, is coming to this very small circle where everything can be done in a small little box, which is your phone. And the idea of that phone not only holding your digital card ID, but also your bank card, your credit card, it's your house key, it's your dishwasher, it's your car key. It's ridiculous.
And now that you look like you have a comeback for this, you're muted. Ah, there we go. Thank you, Kikamitsu.
Oh, Keke, I don't like what you're doing.
Man, I was so happy when I was told like we're debating. I enjoy this stuff.
um,
So yeah, man, say something.
oh,
Not
Brian,
exclusive.
smash us.
We're not even done. We're not done. We have three more topics to discuss.
Timber looks ready to take on Sanko.
Okay. Um, I don't know. Can you hear me, guys? Because where I'm at,
Yes, we can hear you.
where I'm at, there is a noise. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So that's where that's where encryption comes. Encryption is the one of the strongest reason why privacy will continue to exist. It protects
All right.
personal data. Number one, communication and digital identity. Even in a world where full of surveillance and cyber threats, encryption is the key. Now WhatsApp is adapting the end-to-end encryption, which it ensures that only the sender and the receiver can read the information. So yeah, yeah, encryption is the one. So
Okay. Temba, thank you. I am going to follow that with the issues, not encryption. The issue is the fact that we're using apps that have backdoors. And on your point that you made earlier of companies like Apple having great security, once upon a time they did, before the EU told them to build a backdoor to their phone so that they can be able to access their customers' data. The issue is not encryption. The issue is fundamentally humans are flawed. We will always be able to find ways into systems, and we will always be able to build backdoors when we want to. I cannot get away from my app having a backdoor. Let's get this straight. The kind of technologies that is being used for things like lights, um, your fitness bits, your dishwashers, these are not heavily encrypted applications. These are supposed to be simple day-to-day apps that no one should care enough to hack. But because we live in the world of cybersecurity, we understand that the lack of security with these apps is a problem. People's data is being mined, it's being monitored, and there are more ways to get into these apps and do very questionable things than a random person outside of this career could fathom. That is the issue there. The issue is not encryption. I absolutely 100% agree. Encryption will always be the key to some level of privacy. But when we are not in an instant where we are messaging from one person to another, what do we do with the data that is being collected in the background of these apps that we cannot encrypt, that you don't even know is being collected? Why is your period app collecting your location?
In some type of way, data brings order. Choosing privacy uh, means like designing systems that minimize data collection.
You sound dangerous when Timothy.
Um, what do you mean? Like
Timothy.
another point is like you're holding government or companies accountable for your data. So it's your choice on what you give. Like surveillance is a choice, basically. So it's your choice of what you give out or what you post. You know.
Once again, I'm going to just come in and say,
Okay.
Timothy, no, surveillance is not a choice. Um, and I speak of this from, actually, let me give you a fact and not an opinion. One moment. So, surveillance is not a choice. And one of the ways that surveillance is not a choice is um, the Department of Homeland Security in the US currently has a database where it monitors people's social media. They monitor identity, they track and investigate immigrants. They do more than that. They highlight, and this highlights inherent flaws that surveillance is is optional. It's not optional when you're living in a world where in every corner of the street there's a camera that can identify your face, when your phone is a ping that the government can use to know where you are at any time and place. Let's get this straight. The US government is absolutely monitoring people's movements. They know I'm in my house right now. That is a fact. That is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. This data is being mined. This data is useful for them. And they're not breaking any laws. They don't need to break any laws for that. They have found a justification to say that they should have these locations in place. They need to have them for us to be able to get messages if there's a kidnapping in the area and an amber alert is needed. They need them to send tornado watches if there's a tornado watch or hurricane watch in my area. But that very same convenience that I'm given to be able to feel safe in my area against natural disasters or kidnappers or gunmen. There was a time there was apparently a gunman in my area, is also the very same technology that will be used against you to surveil you. Because where is the line, truly, really speaking? You already have access to my phone and my location. You can do whatever else you want after that. There's nothing illegal they're doing.
Timothy, do you have a point? And then Johanna, do you have something you want to add?
In some point, all those data, it's there to bring order. I think if they didn't collect no data and protect it, a lot of crime was gonna happen. I think number one, um, like you mentioned, a lot of illegal immigrants would have been in the country. I think if they wasn't collecting that type of data, then a lot of immigrants was gonna be there also as well.
No, no,
Uh,
no,
All right.
no.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
I think I'm done.
Johanna was supposed to make a point, but then he tell me you want to
So
add.
KK, if so, I'm asking a question especially for KK. If you KK, if you believe maybe the future cannot be private, does it mean that people should simply give up or stop protecting their data?
Oh, absolutely not. Um, I am arguing that the future is not fully private. And that is an absolute fact at this moment. The facts lead to the fact that we are in a state where we're being surveilled. True. Our governments are surveilling us. Our governments are breaching a lot of our privacy. Private companies are collecting mining data that they shouldn't about us. And we have had no say as the public because at some point we didn't even know it was being done. And those who are vastly aware of just how bad it is are in this space, in this career. So, point is, the future has the capability to be somewhat private. But because we have already collected so much information and we are already creating a surveillance state of sort, true privacy, I truly believe will never be a real thing. Your information is already out there. The norm has already been set. The standard is there. And it will continue. It will take people like me and you who are in this career to come up with bright, brilliant ideas constantly to be 5 steps ahead of all these breaches of privacy and human dignity and rights. And again, I agree with your point. There are laws in place, international laws in place for all these things, but there's loopholes. And we need to create solutions around those loopholes.
That's true. That's a good point. Kosi, you had a point.
I'd like to from the team rate, but it's about computing. So basically, our common encryption services, say encryption, which is based on difficulty of. And we have our ECC, which is basically so based on complex code equations.
Mm-hmm.
Computing such algorithm like source which was developed in and actually in a time expect for encryption such as back-end tools, and they tell you that no, there's end-to-end encryption. With the development of quantum computing, you could actually use encryption and actually steal what we needed to be steal. I'm not saying we are going to be stealing data, but there is no privacy that is long term. It is something that is in progress. In a few years down the line, guys, yeah, you're not safe. Also, the harvest now the threat of so with encryption, we see that government secrets are kept with high encryptions as long as medical records and personal communications, like I said, WhatsApp. But if I use a mathematical algorithm like Soar's algorithm in my quantum computer, then your encryption point is pretty much useless. In the term point that I'm making, not your last line of defense when it comes
That's a very good point. I'd like us to just address a certain question that's on the chat. Um, Cybersecurity 101 says, doesn't the right to privacy form part of human dignity as protected under the South African Constitution? Are you suggesting progress should override constitutional rights? So I think this is addressed to those that believe that there's no privacy in the future. Okay, you can go for it.
Are you suggesting progress should override constitutional rights? No, I do not. I believe that human dignity and privacy should absolutely be the top of the agenda. And maybe once upon a time, they truly, really were. But if there's one thing the world of cybersecurity has taught us is we are spending a lot of time catching up more than we are actually resolving issues of the future. We spend more time understanding the systems that exist in this space here and now than we do trying to resolve what future issues we could have. Now, I'm not saying cybersecurity um, has a stagnation issue. I'm saying we as humans move according to a certain pace. We can only tackle things as they come. And unfortunately, as it stands right now, human dignity is protected under the Constitution. The UN has an article that protects your privacy. But that does not take away from the fact that the government is not the one that's mining your data. It's the private company that you signed the terms and conditions of an app that you didn't need for. When you had to do your CV, you downloaded an app that you didn't know the name of, and then you put your ID number on your CV, and now your ID number is on the dark web.
Yeah.
So don't
The
we leave them to
constitutional rights are not going to help you with anything when we're talking about things like that.
Yeah. Timothy, you said something?
So don't we leave Benis accountable to these misuse and all these of the.
Can you please repeat that? I didn't hear you.
So don't we make these companies or organization accountable for a data loss or a data breach or a hack of something, because they are there for us to trust them, that they're
Mhm.
gonna protect our data, right? So if something like that happens, then they are accountable for it, right?
No, you signed the terms and conditions and you said that you're okay with everything they're going to do.
So for instance, if your money is lost in the bank, isn't it the banks accountable for
Actually,
them
no. Not
losing the
American banks. American banks literally stipulate that they can terminate your account with them for any time, for any reason. So if you get hacked and they decide this is too much for us, they can decide to just terminate your account and go adios. Bah.
but is that for each and every country or is it just for America?
Again, it depends on the terms and conditions of
A
what we're
bank.
talking about, right? I'm making an example. You talked
Oh,
about a bank. I'm talking
yeah.
about US banks specifically, right? I know this is an issue. I mean, US banking is a big fucking problem. US banking is a
Language.
big problem. Sorry. US banking is generally a problem.
Mhm.
It's backwards for a lot of reasons. That includes the fact that it allows them to be able to control competition. Um, but fundamentally, it also allows them to be able to make such rules.
So how do you rely on a bank then? Then we
You
wouldn't want to save
don't.
at a bank, so because it's then unreliable.
No, hide your money under a mattress.
Um, just to make a comment before we continue, right? So Timothy, as you ask your question, do you remember that you were trying to affirm as well that the future is private, all right? So the way you need to direct your questions in a way that disproves the fact that KK believes that the future is private, all right? Otherwise, it to some degree it seems like we were starting to align with what KK
Yes, to say.
is saying.
Yeah.
Not just and like okay, the future is not private at all. But of course, there's arguments that can be made about the future being private. I do like the point that you made about for convenience, right? You need to give up some level of privacy, but how much of that privacy was my first question to you was how much of that privacy do you give up? How much do you retain?
Mhm.
Right? And so just remember that as you're addressing your questions, that you're trying to prove that even hypothetically, we can have a private future, all right? And then just have supporting evidence for that private future, all right? Cool. So can we move on to the next topic of discussion, all right? Which is we briefly did touch on digital identity a lot. We did touch on encryption a lot. Um, but we didn't touch on okay Kosi did touch on threats, what is quantum computing, the data economy and AI surveillance. We touched on it briefly, but I think let's migrate into that direction. The data economy, I know Kiki you did mention some points on there, but I would like to hear from the affirmative team because obviously in the modern world data is a commodity. It's like gold, all right? So how do we keep it private? All right. So for instance, we know our devices tend to track us between the different apps that we use for customization. All right. So what would your argument be? Because as a person, can we also those? It's too late to remove them. As a person who is, if I am privacy conscious, but I also want convenience, all right. For instance, the other day, I mentioned the point to my sister, and as soon as she opened her YouTube app, the first recommendation was exactly what we're speaking about. And for privacy conscious person, we'd be like, okay, is our phone listening to us? It is. I don't know if you've read the article on Big Brother, for instance, that we're living in mass surveillance. All right.
Yeah.
So now, how do you reassure a person that is privacy conscious but also wants convenience that the future is private? because yes, my phone is helping me, customize. It's basically being tailored for me, but my worry is, where is that data going, and how do I trace where that data is going?
So can I please, before the opposing team answers,
Yeah.
on your point of your sister opening her phone and the first thing that pops up is whatever you were talking about, before you
Mm.
guys argue for your phones being private, please remember that
Mm.
Apple is currently being sued for listening in on people. You may continue.
She just threw a bomb in there just in
Yeah.
case. You can do whatever you want with
Mhm.
it. All right, affirmative. Let's go. Those smiles are like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Oh wow.
I
Okay.
love this.
Uh, I'm just gonna make a point to. I'm not necessarily. I think we yes. Because you want to make a point.
Oh, no, 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 no.
All right. I think it's very it's interesting to say the least, right? Why it's interesting? It's simply because I think there is potential, like Kika said earlier, for the future to be private. All right, but the question is, do we want it to be private? Okay. Angel mentioned a very important point about a fully private system. It could be a benefit for obviously individual, but it's also a benefit for what criminals. All right. So where is that sweet spot? That's really the question. Where's that sweet spot where privacy and giving up a degree of our privacy comes in, all right? And obviously, let's be real. Nobody would want to sacrifice convenience for security,
Hmm.
right? The fact that you have to do two-factor authentication is already annoying, right? For people that are not necessarily the most technically inclined, all right, how do you, because they're not aware that that data is being used. In fact, maybe they are aware, but it doesn't matter to them to the same degree that it would matter to us who are, more cyber conscious and, inside the cyber world. So what does that sweet spot look like for you? Because we can't tell them, okay, completely go to the security route, because I'm sure if you have to give your grandma multi-factor authentication, they're like,
So that
what is this? It's like, what is this? I want to be a part of this.
that's how
So
we
then
eat
what is the
stump.
sweet spot? Hmm. Anyone, what is that sweet spot? Affirmative team, you've been really quiet. We want to hear something. The people rooting for you are being disappointed at this point.
I feel like we have said our points, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And you've accepted defeat, or
I don't know if Temba has something to say.
Timber, do you have something to add?
Nah, I have nothing on my side.
All right, all right. So, I'm going to just add a point, and then I'll give what's this, the negative team to work out their conclusions, because I'm sure they still have a lot that they want to put on the table. But I wanted to say, in terms of quantum computing, right? Quantum computing obviously is a benefit for us, all right, because obviously we have faster computers and so on and so forth. But as you mentioned earlier, the biggest problem with quantum computing is being able to crack existing encryption, right? It will make it easier to crack those encryption. But as Nella mentioned before, we also have the fact that we as cybersecurity analysts, all right, basically just cybersecurity professionals, we are constantly in the business of trying to improve the systems that we have currently, all right. And I believe that to a degree we can make the future private. In fact, there are systems here, right, that are already existing that really are basically breaking they're basically cutting edge when it comes to privacy. Sorry, it's raining cats and dogs outside, so I'm trying and the rain. It's really bad outside. It's dark basically at this point. So I'm just gonna move this a bit closer so you can hear me. But the main point I'm trying to make here is that we do have systems that are
Irene. All right. So to close off, I'm going to address the issue of ethics and the philosophy of privacy. And I'm going to start off by saying, very importantly, privacy is not merely a technical or a legal concept. It is a fundamental human condition necessary for development of selfhood, autonomy, and flourishing as humans. And this is why it matters beyond just a data issue. And here are the philosophical underpinnings of why. Now, John Stuart Mill once argued that individuals need a protected sphere to form their beliefs, make choices, develop free identity from coercive pressure of social conformity. Constant observation forces people to conform to perceived norms. It stifles individuality and intellectual growth. The mere possibility of being watched modifies someone's behavior. I don't talk like this most of the time. I am consciously making the choice to act this way to be able to be perceived a certain way by the people that are watching me. This is not how I interact. And that is one way we can just make an example of how surveillance or even the feeling of being watched makes one behave differently. For those who are sciencey, this is the same idea with splitting an atom. When it is being observed, it does not scatter through light. When it is not being observed, it scatters. And that alone, the idea that even something as basic as an atom can behave differently when it's being observed, should be enough for us to understand just how invasive the idea of being constantly watched can be and how it can change the way we choose to behave with one another. Therefore, that being said, the mere possibility of being watched simply just modifies our behavior, and a society under mass surveillance will become self-policing, not through force, but through the internalized fear of being judged or punished for what you believe, how you act, what you do, and when you do it. This creates a very chilled, less vibrant, less domestic society, making it truly nothing short of a digital civil death, in my opinion. So, with that said, me and my team believe we are at a crossroads where the conversion of technology, economics, and state power is creating a world that is fundamentally at odds with one, the philosophical purpose of privacy. It undermines autonomy, intimacy, personal development that protects us. Two, it undermines cultural diversity, imposing a de facto global standard of surveillance that disrespects different cultural understandings of public and private life. Also, going back to the idea, no, the question that Benny had asked about privacy in our own home and how the future might be changing that. Different cultures believe in different ways of living and being perceived. And that also plays a huge role in what we ideally think or perceive as private and public life. And surveillance, it just it infringes on that right to be able to choose what is public for you and what is private. And number three, it also undermines international law, systematically violating the rights to be free from arbitrary interference with privacy as guaranteed by the UNUDHR Article 12. And lastly, um, it undermines practical safety, creating systems that are both dangerously insecure, like a database with digital IDs for an entire population, and dangerously powerful. By enabling social control, we will be less willing to do and say certain things in a world where we fear being watched and judged and being punished for those things. So, let me make this perfectly clear. The argument is no longer just about convenience versus data collection. It is about what kind of society we're trying to build. Whether it is one where citizens are trusted, that their personhood is protected, international human rights laws are upheld, or one that views its citizens as data points to be monitored, to be sorted, and to be controlled. Sadly, the evidence suggests that we are rapidly choosing the latter, making the non private future not just a technological reality, but a profound human and ethical crisis. Thank you.
All right. Um, this is posed to everyone. The question is, if we reach a point where every thought, action, and interaction can be seen, recorded, or predicted, can we still call ourselves free beings, or have we traded our humanity for the illusion of safety? Can we have Kosi answer, if he doesn't mind?
Whoa. The question: if we reach a point where every thought, action, and interest we call ourselves free beings, have we treated our humanity for the illusion of safety? Reason one has raised about surveillance, that we're always being watched. Every call, every interaction through social media. Can't say whether it's for the better or for not say whether it's a good thing. No, we are trading ourselves or not, because it all boils down to us actually, or us accepting those terms and conditions. We are allowing things that we actually love for, the things we like, the things we dislike. It is pretty dangerous, but I think whether or not it does ensure safety. I know there is need of safety.
Yeah. All right. I'll just quickly.
Um.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. You go ahead.
No, you can go
So,
ahead.
according, okay, for me, I would say no. We are no longer free beings, right? But because of, you know how government is, he wants us to believe that it's for our safety. Do you understand? That's the reason why he's tracking our actions and so on. Do you understand? So, but initially, we are no longer free beings.
So I feel like we're borderlining politics here. So I just want to put a disclaimer: we're not politicians. We're not pushing an agenda. We're just trying to have a discussion, all right? Before it becomes a whole situation here. Um, but the point I wanted to make on this is simply in the lines of uh, we as humans are incredible at fighting back against systems that oppress us. All right. If we check out throughout history, whatever system that were put in place that somewhat did not benefit us in the long term, we stood against it, and eventually we got what we wanted, if we can put it like that. So the the opinion that I share, this is my personal opinion, all right? Disclaimer again, this is not what my students agree with, but this is my personal opinion that I believe that even as the world may get darker, as cybersecurity may get darker, right? Um, we are we as humans, we have this ability to take back control over our data, all right? One way or the other. If you're into sci-fi movies, or the ending is always the same to a degree. Eventually you realize what the government is doing, and we decide that no, we want power back to the people. So I believe that as cyber professionals, what we're really trying to achieve is power back to the people, and we're going to look for ways to give power back to the people. We're one of the I think it was Temba that said that it's not to say that we, just because our privacy is being abused, doesn't mean that we give it up, right? Doesn't mean that we give up and like, you know what, the world is like this, so be it, right? And this is why, as cyber professionals, there's a whole domain dedicated to just researching how to give power back to the people, all right? How do I own my data? Because in like currently, you don't own your data in a way, right? You don't own your data because whatever the company that's storing your data, whatever they choose to do with it, right? You sign the terms and agreements, on terms and conditions. You agreed that they can use your data however they see fit. You just didn't know that you agreed, all right? Because that's why it's long. Nobody's going to read it, you know. But I just want you to know that we should never, whatever we want to, like whatever change we want to see, we have the ability to initiate that change. It may be costly at first, but we have that resilience as humans to think about innovative ways to give power back to the people. Think about Tor browser, for instance. Tor browser is the idea of having browsing the internet completely anonymously, right? Of course, you can argue, is it really anonymous? But those are attempts to give back power to the people. All right, think about the blockchain in a way, the decentralized banking system, for instance. They're all ideas being raised to give power back to the people. So I don't think that we can we have given up yet. And as long as we have not given up yet, there is hope that we can take back power, we can take back our data, and so on and so forth. Right? We have two more questions, and then I think that is going to be a wrap for us. All right. So we have Ofamedse. She doesn't like me pronouncing her name, but I feel like I prefer saying the long version of your name. But anyways, she says, if we pursue a fully private future, how do we balance the need for security, public safety, and innovation with individual privacy rights, especially when advanced technologies like AI, continuation is here, and surveillance are often required to prevent or respond to threats? So I'll put the first part of the question up. Anyone can answer that.
Okay, I'm gonna attempt to answer this
All right.
because it's not even really my topic. This one, I disagree. But I think if we pursue a fully private future,
Mm,
um, yeah, no, no. See, I believe in privacy, but I do not believe in absolute privacy.
mm,
I do not believe there should be such a thing for many, many reasons, including the ones that my teammates have previously stated,
mm,
being that this very systems that we create to protect us
mm,
protect kidnappers, child molesters,
mm,
human traffickers, and an absolute private future is a future that allows such individuals to prevail and for the continuation of just abuse on human dignity. And the whole idea is that we are arguing for human rights and human dignity, and your privacy should come with your safety. So, if we are arguing safety and we are arguing privacy, we need to argue that there should be a line that we need to be able to thickly draw where safety and privacy are not on the side of the same coin, but we are able to pursue them while allowing ourselves to have the dignity that we deserve as human beings, to keep what we consider our private lives private, but to have systems in place that are able to give justice to things like human trafficking and entire websites and chains. My God, there are Telegram groups dedicated to some really disturbing things that are happening in this world. And the only reason they're able to get away with these things is because of these privacy features in place. And this is the tricky thing, right? How do you monitor such things without invading people's privacy? That is the question that really does not. It's the egg and chicken question. Like, how do we deal with this issue of, yeah, we need privacy, but we also cannot have absolute privacy. So where's the line? I don't know. I cannot answer this question. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to this person.
yeah, that is a complex question to
Yeah.
answer. I like the fact that I like the point you raised about it's just hard to draw the line. It's really hard to draw the line between what we should give up and what we shouldn't give up. And I guess that is a discussion that we can take offline. So first, I just want to say I want to thank you for participating, um, all of you. I was up yesterday watching how you guys were doing your thing, and I was like, wow, you guys stayed up really late. So I really I commend you for your hard work. I saw all the meets that you guys were sending, the affirmative team. Then I saw your drive, the negative team, and I just want to say I really it's a proud moment for me, right, to see how much passion you put into this debate and put into this topic. And this is why I would extend it to everyone else that's watching the stream, that couldn't join us necessarily here, right? But I just want to thank you for taking the time off your day to participate in this debate. You've contributed to a wealth of knowledge. You've given me a lot of knowledge, and I'm sure people watching right now are also have benefited from all the points that you've made. So thank you very much. You are exceptional human beings, and I see that the future is bright for cybersecurity. Things are gonna definitely be changing. All right. But yeah, so that's all we have for today's stream. If there are any questions that anyone has, so please just you can email Melsoft hello at melsoftacademy.com. All right.
You
So
can't
that's
reach
works.
us. We are private.
Yes, exactly. All right then. That's all we have for you today. Everybody, have a good one. Thank you so much for participating. Bye.
Bye.